While cricket matches are undoubtedly decided on the cricket field, but when it comes to the IPL, what happens at the auction table also becomes very, very crucial. It is where your composition of the team is decided, and that eventually then decides who ends up holding the IPL trophy in the end. Hello and welcome to our special program, the big IPL sale right here on India Today Television. We will be building up to what promises to be the biggest IPL auction so far. We're already getting predictions that the world record in terms of the highest bid for a cricketer could be broken in the next 2 days. As we build up for that big auction, we'll be joined by an in-house expert, former India cricketer, a World Cup winner in Harbhajan Singh, but I also call him an IPL winner with 2 different franchises and has had one of the most successful IPL careers. Harbhajan Singh is with us. Before I get to Harbhajan to share his thoughts of who he thinks could be those big picks in this IPL auction, let's also listen in to Indian captain Rohit Sharma. Now, remember, India is also playing an ODI series versus the West Indies. But more than what's happening on the cricket pitch, the buzz is around the IPL auction. And sure enough, the Indian captain was also asked about it.
Everybody, all the guys who have not been retained will be glued to the TV, watching what is happening. But I'm certainly keeping my phone off.
Right, trust Rohit Sharma to keep his sense of humor intact, considering that he is going to be the Mumbai Indian captain. He said, I'll turn my phone off. He doesn't want to see any sort of feedback. But yes, it's going to be nail-biting next 2 days for a lot of players. Harbhajan Singh is with us. Harbhajan, tell us, you have also been picked in the auction various times. How or what are the emotions that a player goes through? Do players keep checking the live feed to see when their name is coming up? Are they anxious? What does a player be thinking at this time?
Well, it's a big day for all the players, franchise. They are making this new team for their respective teams, and they all want to go for big guns. And at the same time, they want to keep the competition right for their team for next few years. So it's going to be very exciting. So as a player, when IPL happened for the first time, we were in Australia and we didn't know much about it, to be honest. And we were like just sitting and waiting the news to come, which team I've gone to or who picked me, and those days, it was a different sort of story. But I was lucky enough to play 10 years for Mumbai Indians, where I didn't go in a single auction after that. But yes, after the 10th season, I went to the auction, and that's where I felt I was feeling a bit nervous, and I was just checking, when my name will come and what will happen. So I got up. By the time I got up, I opened the TV. My name was already there, and I was sold. No more bid. Only one bid from Chennai Super King. That's it. I was gone. I was very disappointed, to be honest, that after taking 130 odd wickets for Mumbai Indians, having 3 trophies under my belt, nobody was willing to bid for me. I don't know, but when you sit there on that table, the dimensions are so different. Everyone wants to save money for certain players and see what happens in the later part. So my name came in the first or second in the list. So that's probably the reason I didn't go for much money, but that's fine. But I got to play for another big team, CSK, and then for KRI, which I was part of them last year. It's going to be very exciting. Yes, every player will be glued to the TV or to the news feed or to whatever way they can connect onto it and see when their name comes and who got what. It's going to be very exciting 2 days.
All right. By sharing your personal experience, Harbhajan, you've given us an insight into what a player must be thinking when his name comes, when other teams bid or decide not to bid for him. What are those thoughts that cross a player's mind? Harbhajan just gave us insights on that. Plenty more to come with Harbhajan Singh. But meanwhile, the IPL mega auction is just minutes away. As we mentioned earlier, big money signings will be made ahead of the 15th edition of the world's biggest cricket league. And before the bidding war takes center stage, here's all that you need to know about your favorite franchise.
480. That's 480. RCB.
The IPL Mega Auction, an event which not just the fans but even the players watch with bated breath. 590 players, 220 overseas and 370 Indians will go under the hammer on February 12th and 13th in Bengaluru. The auction will begin with the 10-player marquee set that includes the likes of Shikhar Dhawan, Shreyas Iyer, David Warner and Kagiso Rabada, among others.
1,500.
The biggest change from the previous auctions is the inclusion of two new franchisees, Lucknow and Ahmedabad. And all the 10 franchisees had an initial purse of rupees 90 crore. The initial 8 teams were allowed to retain a maximum of 4 players, while the 2 new franchisees were allowed to sign 3 players before the mega auction. Defending champions Chennai Super Kings retained 4 players. Captain MS Dhoni decided he wanted to be the second pick, and that allowed Ravindra Jadeja to get a bigger payday. England all-rounder Moeen Ali and opener Ruturaj Gaikwad were their final 2 picks. IPL's most successful franchisee, the Mumbai Indians, retained captain Rohit Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah as their top 2 picks. They also chose Suryakumar Yadav ahead of Ishan Kishan and the Pandya brothers. As their 4th pick, they kept the big-hitting Kieron Pollard at the franchise. Delhi Capitals too retained 4 players. Captain Rishabh Pant, all-rounder Akshar Patel, opening batsman Prithvi Shaw were all retained. They also surprised many by picking Henrik Nortje ahead of Kagiso Rabada as their 4th choice. Meanwhile, Shah Rukh Khan's KKR retained the services of 2 West Indians in Andre Russell and Sunil Narine. They also decided to keep Varun Chakravarti and newfound all-round sensation Venkatesh Iyer. The Royal Challengers Bangalore retained their former skipper Virat Kohli as their first pick. They also decided to keep Glenn Maxwell as well as pacer Mohammad Siraj for the next IPL cycle. The Sunrisers Hyderabad kept captain Kane Williamson as their first retention. In addition, they also retained 2 uncapped young talents, Abdul Samad and Umran Malik. Rajasthan Royals retained Sanju Samson and Josh Butler along with uncapped Mumbai opener Yashasvi Jaiswal. The Punjab Kings have only retained 2 players, opener Mayank Agarwal and uncapped pacer Arshdeep Singh. The 2 new teams were then allowed to sign 3 players of their choice, with price negotiations left to the player and the franchise. KL Rahul was the first signing the Lucknow Super Giants made. They also bagged the signatures of Marcus Stoinis and leggy Ravi Bishnoi to complete their stipulated list of players. On the other hand, the Ahmedabad franchisee signed Hardik Pandya as their captain. CVC Capital-owned side also managed to snaffle Rashid Khan, paying him the same signing amount as Hardik. Their 3rd player was opener Shubman Gill, who was released by Kolkata Knight Riders. An IPL franchisee can have a maximum of 25 players on their roster. And with so many slots to fill, it'll be interesting to see the strategy each franchisee employs. A bidding war awaits us all. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Goes to Bangalore, well done.
Harbhajan Singh is still with us. Harbhajan, we just showed our viewers just to give them an idea of where each team stands at the moment. Now we know that teams like Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai have retained all 4 players. The least that any team has retained is Punjab Kings with only 2. The 2 new franchises that have come have also got 3 good players each. At the moment, I know the majority of the teams and the composition will be decided at the end of the 2-day auction. But at the moment, which is the team that is looking strongest to you based on their retentions?
See, on a base of retention, I think Mumbai have done a very good job by retaining Kieron Pollard and Jasprit Bumrah and Rohit Sharma. And Suryakumar Yadav. They 4 are like match winners in their own ways, and KKR also have done a very good job by retaining, Sunil Narine, probably one of the biggest match winner you have ever seen in T20 format, and Russell, and of course Varun Chakravarti along with them, and Venkatesh Iyer. Those were great picks, but those 4 will not make the team. To be honest. You need more player coming in and doing the job for the team. Let's see what happens in the auction, what Mumbai will be able to get, what sort of players in Calcutta and the other teams, because it's all up to, it's like you go to the market and you want a certain vegetable, but there are a lot of buyers for it.
Yeah.
And you ended up taking the 4th number, A, B, C, D, you won't get. Then you have to adjust with D or E. In the end. So this is how the IPL dimensions are, it's going to be very tough for all the teams to pick or to get the right sort of players. But let's see, who are lucky. But all I can say that Punjab Kings 11, they have a lot of money in their hand, and I hope that they make the best team out of it. Otherwise, we have seen the kind of players they have picked. They're not a very big name, but yes, they have done well in the IPL, but they need more players to fill in their squad to win the championship.
Okay, you gave that vegetable analogy. The good thing about the IPL auction is that in one shop you may not get the top vegetable that you want, but the good thing is because the money is equally divided, maybe the next shop that you go to, there you might get, because you have more money in your hand, you might get the best vegetable. So it is going to be a mixed bag. Some places you get your choice, some you don't. And because there is a cap on the amount of money you can spend, it tends to just even out things between all teams. Now, during the IPL auctions, top Indian players always end up sparking a bidding war, and the mega auction this time will be no different. Now, considering franchises were allowed only 4 retentions ahead of this year's IPL, there are quite a few big names in the auction pool. Take a look at the top 5 hottest picks among the Indian players.
With IPL franchisees all set to break the bank in the mega auction, big paydays await several Indian players. Here are our top 5 Indian picks who could be the big buys this weekend.
Siraj has struck.
Explosive top-order batsman, wicket-keeper and only 23 years old, Ishan Kishan will surely fetch the big bucks at this year's auction. In his 4 IPL seasons so far, Ishan has scored 1,452 runs at a strike rate in excess of 135. In Mumbai's title-winning 2020 season, he was in fact their top scorer. While he was bought for 6.2 crores in the 2018 IPL auction, the diminutive batsman is expected to go past the price tag easily, and some of the franchisees may be eyeing him for the role of captaincy.
Mumbai Indians convincingly win this game.
A consistent run scorer, Shreyas Iyer burst onto the scene when he won the Emerging Player of the Season award in 2015. From there to becoming the captain of the Delhi franchisee, he has led his side to the playoffs back in 2019 before taking them to the final in 2020. Boasting of an average of above 30 with a decent strike rate, Iyer is the perfect candidate for the number 3 and number 4 spot. His consistency of scoring 400 runs almost every season makes him a very valuable buy. With a few franchisees on the lookout for a captain, Shreyas Iyer could well spark a bidding war. Shikhar Dhawan has been a proven performer in the IPL. The league's second highest run scorer has been one of the most dependable batsmen over the years. In fact, since the start of the 2016 season, Dhawan has scored close to 500 runs or more every year. His form in the past couple of years has been even better, where he has managed close to 600 runs. However, the only thing holding franchisees back will be Dhawan's age. The Delhi-born batsman is 36 years old, and by the time the next IPL cycle ends, he will be 39. But irrespective of the age factor, he remains a very attractive buy. Many were surprised by RCB's decision to not retain Harshal Patel for the next IPL cycle, especially after his phenomenal success in the 2021 season. The purple cap holder took the world by storm last year as he finished the season with 32 wickets from just 15 games and helped RCB qualify for the playoffs. His impressive display also earned him his maiden call-up to the Indian T20 side. Top quality pacers always earn the big bucks at the IPL auctions. And this time, it shouldn't be any different when Harshal Patel's name comes up. Shardul Thakur's stock has undergone a massive upsurge over the past couple of years. He's now a regular in the Indian side, that too across all 3 formats. While Chennai were unable to retain him, there'll be quite a few franchisees eyeing for him. Shardul was vital to CSK's success in the title-winning campaign last year. During the UAE leg, he picked up 16 wickets in 9 matches. In fact, he snaffled 2 wickets in an over on 3 occasions. While Shardul hasn't really shown his batting prowess in the IPL yet, franchisees know what he's capable of. As a bowler, who's also a dasher, he can prove to be one of the biggest buys this year. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right, Harbhajan Singh is still with us. Harbhajan, like we were talking earlier, you've been part of many IPL seasons. You won the IPL as well with two different teams. You know how the IPL teams think. So look into your crystal ball and try and tell who you think could be that Indian player that invites the highest bid. I've got a few options for you. There are the likes of Ishan Kishan, Shreyas Iyer, there's Deepak Chahar, or you've got some other name in mind.
Well, I think Ishan Kishan is certainly one of those players who will probably go for the maximum. And apart from Ishan Kishan, yes, Shreyas Iyer is there. A lot of team will be very keen to have him in their side, and because he's a captain material also, and there are three teams who are looking for captain, rather two. I would say that RCB will probably ask Virat Kohli to lead them, and there are two teams, KKR or Punjab. You know, can go for Shreyas Iyer, and he's also someone can get a lot of money. And apart from them, I think the name you guys forgot is Yuzvendra Chahal. He's someone who's a proven match winner with the ball. I think he's been very, very successful in the IPL, and he played in that, very, very difficult ground where it's very difficult or sometimes impossible to bowl to the batters, Bangalore. But he's been a key member for them, though they have not won the championship. But, you check his performances. He's been a great warrior for RCB. I think he'll also go for big bucks. And apart from them, there are few names who are not as big as these guys, but someone like Rahul Tripathi from KKR. Last time I saw him he was unbelievable, or he's probably better than a few of them who are playing for India at this stage. I think he's someone who will always be surprising a lot of the people that Rahul Tripathi has gone for a lot of bucks. So these are my picks. I feel these are some of the players will go and get a lot of money today.
All right. Who goes for the big bucks, I don't know, but that's why we pay Harbhajan Singh the big bucks to be with us every day, because of that fine insight that he brings. Remember, few players that we missed out. Okay, we can agree to disagree on that one. But the interesting bits, that's what I say. See, great insights. One is talking about, nobody is talking about, it is possible Virat Kohli ends up leading RCB, as Harbhajan says. The other, Rahul Tripathi, been under the radar, and he's absolutely right. In the Middle East, when all middle order batsmen were struggling, Rahul Tripathi was the unsung hero for KKR. So you need to watch out for him as well. Yuzi Chahal, as Harbhajan says, also another very interesting pick. So very fine insights there by Harbhajan Singh. But this were the Indian players that we are talking about. Let's quickly take a look at the foreign big stars as well that will go for the big bucks. David Warner is there. His base price is of 2 crore. He was the player of the tournament at the T20 World Cup, the fastest batsman to complete 5,000 runs in IPL, most 50s in IPL history. That list is endless in terms of his record. 50 is the number of wins he's got. Led Sunrisers to the IPL title in 2016. Let's take a look at the next one. Quentin Decock, again base price of 2 crore, one of the best wicketkeeper batsmen in the world, scored 500 plus runs in Mumbai's IPL triumphs in 2020 and 2021. South Africa's top scorer in ODI series win over India, and will be available for the full IPL season, don't forget. So he's the guy to watch out for. Kagiso Rabada, another South African, base price of 2 crore. Purple Cap winner in 2020 season, took 25 wickets in 2019 as well, 30 wickets in 2020. Now he's taken 76 wickets in 50 matches, proven track record as a match winner for the Delhi team. Many were surprised that Delhi let him go. Josh Hazelwood, now he's another one to watch out for. 2 crore is his base price, won the IPL 2021, so current winner with the Chennai Super Kings, has been in tremendous form for Australia, second highest wicket taker for Australia at the T20 World Cup. Remember, picked up just now 4 for 12 versus Sri Lanka in the first T20I on Friday, and IPL teams tend to remember the latest performance. Another fast bowler, Trent Bolt, always been one of the most lethal left-arm pacers, joint second highest wicket taker at the 2021 T20 World Cup, took 25 wickets in Mumbai's IPL 2020 title win. Big match player, was player of the match in IPL 2020 final. So these are the foreign players to watch out for, just as you did, Harbhajan, for us when it came to the Indian players. Tell us who's going to be that overseas player that's going to invite the highest bid.
I think there'll be few overseas players. Let me just start with David Warner. He's a proven player, match winner. Yes, of course, captain material. any team would want to have, David Warner in their team. And of course, there are two teams, as I mentioned. He could be captain of one of those teams, either Punjab Kings 11 or KKR, if they get to, have David Warner in their team. Great player, unbelievable, record he's got. And my second player, I think, which you guys didn't mention, is Mitchell Marsh. I think he's someone, he's a proven player who was man of the match in the final against New Zealand. He was unbelievable, won the game single-handedly for them. He's a great striker. I think there'll be a lot of team for him to give him a lot of money. And apart from him, Quinty, that's what we call him. He's a proven guy. Mumbai will be very keen to have him back. I'm not sure if they can get him back. But apart from that, Pat Cummins is someone, who's been around there, and he can bowl quick and he can tonk in the later part, when it comes to batting. He's an unbelievable finisher as well. So these are some of the players I think they will go for big bucks. And not to forget Johnny Bairstow, who's someone has done very well for Sunrisers. Whenever he opened with David Warner, he was scoring very heavily and very quickly. So he could be another surprise package for you guys to see, after the auction. Wow, he became millionaire.
Okay, some very interesting names Harbhajan Singh is thrown up, but here it is very tough for us to slot these players in the top 5 of the overseas as well as Indian players, because there are so many different options that the team can go for, and the ones that we're missing out, Harbhajan is helping us and picking some players that may not have made our top 5 list but other ones to watch out for. But here we've got a list of 5 unknown guys. Now these are not the guys that are household names that a lot of people will not be doing, but we had our backroom team, the one that crunches number for a living, to tell us some very interesting picks that might just help IPL teams to pick a few players at a very low cost, which will eventually help them win matches. We're starting with a T20 specialist, Tim David. During the various T20 leagues across the world, David has shown that when the top order collapses, he has the ability to reconstruct the innings at a rapid rate, a quality that teams will be attracted by. That is not even the most fascinating aspect of his batting, by the way. He's one of the few overseas right-hand batters who has a mind-blowing record against spin bowling. So he's destructive as well. So that is that one player that you need to look out for. Unknown quantity. Devol Brevis, South Africa's Baby AB, they call him. That's because Brevis is an 18-year-old from South Africa, all-rounder. He's modeled his game on AB de Villiers, can make a huge name for himself, going by the form he's showcasing at the moment. 506 runs he got, 84 was his average at the Under-19 World Cup recently. Leg spinner who picked up 7 wickets too in the tournament. He was recently spotted wearing the RCB jersey in a pic on his social media handle. So that may be a clue as to where he might be heading. We've got a domestic performer, Arsai Kishore, who has recently been drafted into India's squad as a standby for the 3 T20Is versus West Indies in Kolkata. From winning the Tamil Nadu Premier League and Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy to finishing runners-up in Vijay Hazare Trophy, the 25-year-old left-arm spinner has had a standout year in 2021. He is yet to make his IPL debut despite being with the Chennai Super King franchise since 2020. Jitesh Sharma, another one we've picked from domestic cricket. He's Vidarbha's wicketkeeper batsman. He was sent down the order from his opening slot in the recently concluded Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament. Batting as a floater from slots 3 to 6 across 7 innings, the 28-year-old slammed 214 runs at a strike rate of 235. Note that, 235. Now, Jitesh loves big hits, also fetched him 18 sixes in that tournament, the most for any batter in this edition. Remember, he was a part of the Mumbai Indians team last season but did not play a game. Arzan Nagwaswala, now Gujarat's left-arm fast bowler Arzan also accompanied the Indian team to England last year. Team India and IPL franchises need a good left-arm fast bowler. Arzan has done well in the shorter formats in domestic cricket, and therefore some teams may insist on including him in their playing 11. So these were a few unknown players that are under the radar, but could be value for money for IPL teams. Harbhajan Singh still with us. Harbhajan, do you have any other names, who are under the radar, or what do you make of some of the Indian under-19 stars that we saw during the under-19 World Cup? Some of them you think teams would be eyeing?
Most definitely. Under-19 is always, one of those tournaments which bring a lot of talent on the table. And of course, when it comes to IPL, there are a lot of teams who keep an eye on those talent because they know they can not just serve for 1 or 2 years, but they can be serving their team for maybe 5, 6, 10 years down the line. So there'll be a lot of players going big from under 19 winning team. And apart from that, there's a guy called Prab Simran from Punjab. I think he'll also go for some bucks. He's someone who can hit those sixes. He open. He's a wicket keeper. And apart from them, there's a guy called Vaibhav Arora from Himachal. And Himachal, won their first title of Ranji Trophy one-day tournament. They have quite a few players, Gamta and Prashant. They've been in great form, and I think there'll be a lot of team looking for them as well. So I don't really watch too much of domestic cricket, but whatever small little knowledge I have, I think one of the great pick would be Sheldon Jackson. I think he's been very consistent with the bat for Saurashtra for many years now and been scoring a lot of runs. And I call him Indian Kiran Pollard. He's someone who can hit sixes at will and can win you game at on his day, on his own.
Right.
So
unfortunately,
quite a few players, have it in my mind, which I think, they'll go for big bucks. But, wherever they will go, I think they will be winning games for their respective teams.
Okay, Harbhajan. Unfortunately, we completely run out of time. I would have loved to have got some more insights for you, but he's already picked a few young players that you really need to watch out for. And if any IPL franchises are listening, even last minute, pay attention to those tips that Harbhajan has given. Maybe it might help you unearth a new talent when it comes to T20 cricket. That's all that we could pack into this edition of our special program, the big IPL sale. Minutes away from the IPL auction, but we'll be live continuously on our social media platform, Sports Today. So come there and we'll be live throughout the auction. See you there.